Okay, we've got d4. So we'll start with these moves. You know, we do know what kind of setup we're going for, but as I mentioned, not easy to achieve. I think we'll go here. No point in allowing the bishop to stay there, so can go for this. I think in general, I'm gonna try to do this early. We want knight here, but I'm not that interested in knight b5. So again, useful moves tend to be a6, knight d7, like that. And we want to take this back. So obviously, barring the exchange of bishops, we pretty much have the setup here, and I'm going to take back with the pawn. Now, major difference though is that because the bishops are traded, is definitely in my opponent's favor. I want the bishop here to safeguard this pawn, and so I never need to move it. But if my opponent builds up some pressure on the c file, I actually have to answer that. I can't just do nothing. Here, e4 could be the intention, but I don't think I have time to do this because I'm just not castled yet. So I'll go here, and if e4 happens, even though we trade everything, my opponent will get an isolated pawn, so that's something. Ooh, interesting. I would say that's probably a mistake, because now I don't need to take this knight. I can just move my queen. I don't like going there because white's going to go back, but queen g6 was making some sense. Just feels like it lines up on the right things, and we can get our rooks in perhaps. Rook e8 looks fine. Yeah, again, bishop takes is not really doing anything, so let's offer this. d5. Well, can't lie that maybe annoying is the right word, but it definitely takes the fun out of the position. Playing h6 myself is probably a smart thing to do. Let's go here and put some pressure on that. Maybe we can even play rook d8. It's possible we see d6 if he forgets about that, but the way he played d5 was like very intelligent. It looked like he was trying to block that bishop, so I got to give him credit there. Queen here. So the knight's undefended if the pawn's not there. Not saying that that's anything for me right away, but I'm just noticing it. I think I'm going to play h6. Stops queen g5. I need an escape square anyway. When the rook comes here, I'm actually thinking about potentially going there. But no, he just supports it again. Smart. Very smart. I'm actually still really thinking about this. He's allowed to move the knight. You can respond with a queen move there. I have a pretty strong bishop here, but that's about it. And I do think, even though he played e4, traded some pieces, he made a mistake to take with the bishop first. So the question is, can we take it? I'm going to assume so. Like, even though he's got more pieces here, the value is not at all correct. Because his queen's in front, we're able to just take this back. Okay, well, he's definitely opening up some possible queen takes g2 moves here. I don't think they work. Can't get carried away with that, but man, they do look tempting. Let's go here. Yeah, I can't look at those moves too long. Still, we don't really have a move we can play there, so I feel like I need to move this this rook a little bit, maybe like this. Now it's protected, so maybe there's an idea. I don't know. I could see knight e4, knight f4 happening, definitely. Knight c4, knight takes c3 should win. I just couldn't blunder this rook with check. Okay, yeah, he takes, and we should be winning something here. Everything's hanging. This is a fork. Queen a4 definitely needs to be played. And then maybe queen e5, rook d5, queen e1 mate. Okay, yeah, that's just a hanging rook, so we should take this one. And lots to do. Queen d4, queen d2 will be a check. Really not a bad move, honestly. You know, trying that last ditch attempt. We'll take that with a check, supported by the bishop, and then this should finish things off with a checkmate there. I would say we got our setup a little bit better than usual here. Like overall, we played against a d4 move order, so more likely. And yeah, everything made sense here. Just doesn't make sense to go knight e4. If we're not castle, that's doing a little bit too much. We have to focus on castling. Now, if he didn't play that, then maybe from here we could go rook e8, like knight e4, etc. This position's not overwhelming for black, though. If white had a bishop on d2 and we had a bishop on d6, then it would be extremely good. So you really unlock the full potential of this setup with all the minor pieces on the board, especially the two bishops, because one defends the pawn and covers the e5 square, and then the other one is like supporting the center. Yeah, he played well, definitely. Can't say there's anything too bad about that game. He played e4, which, you know, might not be the best move. His only real mistake, other than the heavy material he lost later, was e4 and taking with the bishop. You just almost always want to start recaptures with your knights compared to your bishops. It's almost never a good idea to offer a bishop for a knight. Okay, we'll go with d4 and see how he wants to react. We see e6. So e6 means there's no bishop coming out, which already makes me think that this could be a reasonably successful opening already. So let's go bishop d3. We see d5. So it seems like we're kind of going to be getting our setup. And if we castle, I'm still looking at that bishop d6 and e5 idea. Normally against this, we would do real well to play c4, but I still feel that that's not really in the spirit of the opening. So I guess I'm going to go b3, but it's mainly to play bishop b2 here and try to stop e5 before it happens. And, well, our opponent goes e5 anyway, and it's like the bishop doesn't exist. It's like they just, like, it has no, it doesn't, it's not there. I don't know why, but I literally just played it there, and then they just go e5 anyway. So definitely at lower elo, I think there's a huge benefit to just stopping e5, like more than anything. You saw I basically didn't castle in favor of getting the bishop here quickly, and I think it paid off. I don't think I'm going to take that, but what I might do is might just play knight here and wait for castling, and then try to play queen h5. Okay, we can play queen h5 now because g6 can be taken. So I think we should see king e7, and if we don't, we should be able to take this, and hopefully he doesn't play that move. Okay, king e7 is actually a good one, a safe one. Let's offer a trade here. My knight needs to improve. I don't mind this move by him. I hope that after this, he's actually going to stop that, because I could definitely see a world where he doesn't, or for example, one where he gets mated in 2 moves. Okay. Well, queen here is definitely playable. I think we'll see bishop there, and then this is very uncomfortable for him because we're going to take with check, and the king doesn't have anywhere to go except to blunder the rook. And we're already up a knight, so now the material is pretty significant. I think we can just take and, you know, just not complicate things. And we'll take that, we'll get out like a bandit, and I think just pushing the pawn is probably enough here. Yeah, not even gonna pay attention to that. Just push this pawn, and that's a piece for us. Yeah, just push the H pawn. That's nice and easy. Well, low elo, what can I say? Definitely stopping the move E5 seems important. I think a lot of the time you won't encounter this move order necessity for white, because to be honest, this is not a good setup for black. You're not really supposed to have your knight there in front of your pawn, and higher rated players are going to either play c6 or play c5 or something, so there'll be a whole extra move that you'll have. So in this case, you might have a3, b3, you might have the bishop already on b2, you might be already castled, whatever it is. But I've noticed that our opponents at the start of the series are trying to like speedrun the move e5, and e5's a crucially annoying move for us to see. We do not want to have our opponents playing e5. I can't stress that enough. That really, like, if you imagine, that really kills the entire setup here. Like, we don't have anything. We're gonna lose our bishop, or this is gonna happen, like c3. I mean, this is just nonsense. So need to stop this at all costs, meaning if our opponent did this, I would definitely play knight there. Have to do it. All right, go d4. We do get d5. We'll wait and see sort of what setup he wants to go for, and he does go for bishop to f5, which means our bishop is not really going to make it to the d3 square here, so we may as well just go set this up. I think we could just play this. Play a3, send the bishop back somewhere. I mean, of course he's welcome to take, but I was going to say I don't think that he will. Bishop d3 looks fine to me, even though these pawns double. We're still going to get our knight in, and yeah, one thing that's been true is I'm not exactly excited to take that. So let's castle. Goes in once again. I can't really be excited to take that one, so maybe we put our own knight in. And hopefully we can drum up something here. Even if oh, okay, he's gonna open our bishop. That doesn't seem like a smart idea. Feels like that can't be correct. Hopefully my opponent does not miss my bishop back there. Okay. Again, not super interested in taking that. Can bring the rooks to the middle, and most importantly, I think we want to play pawn to e4 here. I have a fantastic bishop. That much I know for sure. This move does not feel like it does very much. Knight e5 maybe is the intent next. If queen here, we can play h3. Queen d6 might actually be a more annoying move to deal with. So let's go here. It will definitely be knight e5. And taking, yeah, it looks fine. This bishop is still going to be very, very strong, so we can do this. And if he takes with the rook, I'll probably play e4. Let's see, e4, f4, and then e4 is another option, which I don't mind. Keep this diagonal open. And we can bring this rook to the d file, especially if maybe like knight g6 happens. Yeah, it seems like e4 is quite good, but there is this one, so maybe can we go this one instead? Okay, knight to f3 certainly coming to mind. To be honest, this move is definitely an idea. It looks weird, but I'm actually thinking about maybe playing this, or knight f3 where the queen can't come to g3. Okay. We'll go here just to allow ourselves to play e4. E4 looks like it could lead somewhere. This bishop is insanely strong here. It's covering a lot of useful squares. In fact, it's covering this one. I'm not even sure if he's aware that it's covering that one. I still want to play e4, and I'm still not going to give that bishop up. We'll have to... Ooh, he allowed us to play e4. That might be a mistake. We'll see. Might have to throw in some checks here. Also, rook f2 cover the second rank looks important. So I think rook d7. Obviously, he's going to want to trade. Ooh, that's not going to be the trade you want. You can probably go ahead and pre-move that. And maybe utilizing the bishop is the most satisfying mate there. GG to Zizmu. I see that chess.com has actually called this opening the anti-Colle. So I'm here trying to play the Colle Zukertort, and my opponent's playing the anti-Colle variation. That's how it, I'm just trying to give you guys an idea. It's tough out here. I'm really working. I'm playing against guys playing the anti-Colle. Come on now. Boo. Boo this move. We still get our usual stuff in there. 95, whether or not we have this trade on d3. We would still play knight there, f4, castles. It's funny, I've just never got a chance to play like 95 castles f4 because something always happens before then. So feels like we haven't really got into the middle game yet. We do get a d4 game. Okay, he might be trying to set up something very similar to us, intentionally or unintentionally. He goes knight there. Definitely one of the more annoying moves to play. It's funny, like at lower elos, I think people will play this. Like, it's basically not a good move because I can just play this. But this is not really a move that I'm interested in including in this setup. So in the end, I feel like this move happens to be better than people intend when they play it. Because, yeah, knight here, bishop c6 is probably not desirable. So, I mean, we play here, where we give up the center. Knight there doesn't really do anything. Knight there also doesn't really do anything. Okay, let's put this knight in. We're basically playing this setup minus a bishop, which would be quite useful now. That's okay. Play f5 next. Okay, well, the knight should never go to the side of the board anyway, as we should well know from habits. But there's good reason for that. Just queen takes h4 here. f3 is a good move there. We can play f5. We can play knight f6. We can play bishop takes g3, but I don't really know what we're doing after that. Yeah, I think we just maintain the center and go from there. We'll play f5 and the knight here. Any trade would be good. We're up an entire piece, so king here will get mated. And GG to Vasil. The 650s. It's kind of like, you know, adjusting to these lower rated players because bishop b5 check is more clever than I think he intended. But yeah, in terms of my setup, like we could play a6, but you see what I mean? Like bishop d3 happens and there's no time to get this because we play b6 and technically my opponent could play e4. So I'm not that interested in allowing it if I can do something about it. Okay, let's see. Got d5. Okay, and for the first time we see the move c6. Don't see that one too often. And also bishop out to f5. So it definitely looks like he's going for this type of setup with bishop on. Okay, so h6 is, I think, pretty good timing for us to play bishop d3. There's no bishop g6. And in this system, like the bishop doesn't really go anywhere except here. So I don't think there's a situation where I would play bishop e2 just to avoid a trade. I would probably just, yeah, go here anyway. I think pawn takes is fine, but I'll go with the queen for now. Pretty likely that we don't need to move a3, at least as often in this position, because there's just no knight threatening to go there, so I don't think it matters as much. And bishop d6 knight e5 is a very expected next move. As for c5, we pretty much don't care, honestly. Like it just, yeah, it doesn't really matter to me. As long as c4 can't happen, takes is no big deal, and I think we want to continue with f4. So let's get the knight in. Knight e4 is no good. Not moving your knight is no good. Okay, very weird. Our opponent has gone g6. Rook d1 looks like a useful one. Maybe we have like knight e4 or knight c4 or something like that. Really, really weird gameplay by black here. Like, I get he's only 631, but we've had some strong opponents so far. When the pawn shows up here, to just not move your knight is like, you know, what the heck? What are we talking about? Takes, and rook here will be the end of everything if that happens. We have checkmate in one threatened. Well, this will maybe not lead to mate. It'll lead to the end of the game, maybe not mate. So if we're actually interested in mate, we should probably play knight c4. Threatening mate and also still threatening this check, which is mate as well. I can only see this move to stop both of them. And now it's pick your poison. Which one do you like? I think this one looks a little bit more satisfying. GG. Important to remember, this bishop doesn't really slow me down. I still put the bishop here. I don't want you guys putting the bishop here or being like, well, I don't want to trade it, so bishop e2. Like, no, bishop there anyway. Who cares? And if you can take back with the queen, great. If you can take back with a pawn, or that's the only option, that's fine too. And we just go for the exact same setup, and it's just knight into e5 right away, always. Had he played a normal move here, like knight d7, I would have just played f4, which we know is the plan. F5 to follow up looks really scary. Maybe even e4 or c4 at some point. And yeah, if he ever like plays f6 or something, our bishop will kind of come alive there. Okay. We got d4. Let's see. Okay, we see e6. Anytime you see e6 and the bishop's not coming out, then kind of know that you're pretty solid with this setup here. Goes with the knight, and let's try this move. Now, I think at the moment I just have time to play a3, so I will. Not dealing with those. He's playing quite slow. Again, e5 is covered. So I think we have pretty much the ideal setup here. Again, I'm not prioritizing this because, as you guys have seen, it's so important to make sure you're like preventing e5. If you can, prevent this. Also prevent that. There's so many things they need to stop. Here, I think we've managed to do all of that. So that's why I really like the position. Okay, we see h5. I think it's time to get our knight in. Obviously, we're going to see knight g4. It would be shocking not to. Now, we have to play h3 here, it feels like, because how are we not going to take on g4? But it really depends on the move. Like, if we see queen h4, you know, I'm not sure we're going to take that. But we could play knight f3, for example. Knight h6. The intention is crystal clear. Do we want to play e4? I think we'll kind of stick to the... I think this feels more like what you'd expect out of this opening, if that makes sense. f4. I do like a rook on d1. Sucker for a rook on d1. Okay. Bishop there. Definitely screams to be taken. Also looking at queen f2. Need to support this pawn either with rook there, or maybe take the knight so that it's not a threat. This one I'm struggling with. I think we'll take and try to bring our knight in. Oh, he takes this way, which is probably the good way to capture, honestly. I'm not really sure why to expect that. That'll be a interesting one. I think we have to go here now. For some reason, I was thinking about pawn takes the entire time. c4 makes more sense now. Like, c4 you could play now, would be a fine idea, but I don't care for c4 earlier than that. I don't know, it's just not really what the pieces are supposed to do. Oh, what's this? Okay, I didn't even consider this. Bishop takes a3. That's what he was setting up? I'm here just trying to get my my attack going. He's also not committing his king, which I'm not gonna lie, has been frustrating. Well, it's not going there now, so I feel like we're gonna get him going this way. Like almost for sure. And what else do you... Oh, okay. Unfortunately, he's falling apart here. No. Yeah, he never really castled here. Decided to stick with f4. I think that e4 type of moves would be a bit more standard here, but like stick with the general game plan here. Here, I would say c4 makes some sense, but to be honest with you, I only considered pawn takes and thought we could bring our knight into f6. But yeah, c4, a move in this system you don't really want to play. Like here, you want to keep the pawn there, but everything's a little bit different when you don't have your opponent playing c5. The main thing is you don't want an open position, so c4 is tolerable here, but I think it's healthier if you understand and think of the position like this, where that's what you want to do, and the pawn supports the bishop, and that's it. As soon as you get into this stuff, you're going to get a much more open position you're not always going to be ready for, especially if your opponent has this move. You pretty much never want to play c4, so I think leaving it on c2, especially when you're starting out, just trying to remember the patterns, will be a better reminder than like, well, you can play c4, but only sometimes. I mean, too complicated. d4, d5. Okay, and again, that same knight to c6 move. So let's try b3. Okay, he just plays e5. Okay, go here. Okay, yeah, I guess that's a thing. Not really able to get a nice sturdy setup here, but still a decent one. Let's recapture that back. Okay, he's really all in on this idea. I kind of think that playing a3 will be the best because it'll help me get really like all my pieces developed here. So he's gonna take that. We can take this way, help develop this. I think we want a long castle, so now I have the two bishops. I have an open position. I think we're gonna play f4, bishop here, rook over. Really liking what we've got now. I guess bishop here. Oh, yeah, that's not going to be the move. There's no chance. Knight f3, unfortunately, just loses. No, I mean, even if it was my opponent's turn here, this would not be an acceptable move. So what does he think he's doing? Like, in what world is this knight doing anything? The knight on my g2 square. Very, very poorly placed piece. g5, I don't know, I don't know what's trying to happen there. Maybe lose more material. That's fine. The knight's dead anyway, so I'm not in a rush to take it. Queen f6, I mean, what are we even doing here, right? This isn't even close. The amount of pieces being hung by my opponent is just, it's crazy. I'm telling you, 600 is, you just have to sit there and have your eyes open. Just take all the pieces that are in front of you. It's really not much to it. Yep, every single piece just disappeared there. But it's nice that instead of like panicking, trying to keep this defended, we just said, okay, take, you know, have it back. That's fine. I'm gonna castle. I'm gonna play f4. And everything just disappeared. So I thought we were gonna get a game a bit closer to what we've been trying to do. Gonna play bishop b2, but the guy just sacked a pawn anyway. Nothing I can do if the guy's sacking material like that. Okay, we have the white pieces again. Go d4. Knight comes out. Again, not really in a rush to bring this bishop out. Okay, let's bring this knight. Might play h3 just to kind of see what's happening there. Maybe this one. Definitely h3 needed here. Okay, we'll take that back. Is he gonna castle? Knight d7? Knight d7 makes perfect sense here. So yeah, he's gonna check us, which means don't really have a choice here because knight e4. Again, these are just kind of, I feel like these moves are just classic low elo moves. It's not a very good move, but it's mildly annoying considering what setup we're trying to go for. But obviously it's not really a big deal. Like, it's not a good move at all. So I'll just play c4 next. But I have to say it's beautifully annoying considering the precise thing we're trying to set up. And the thing is, the opening we're trying to set up is not even like the best possible thing. It's like, you know, I'm trying to play over here, have my quiet system that I'm familiar with, launch my attack. They won't even let me have that. They're like, no, you must play something better than that. You must play pawn to c4. Okay. All right. You're gonna force me. Unfortunately, his connection doesn't seem to be the best here. I credit all these sub 700 players so far with giving this bishop check right at the most annoying possible moment. Yeah, the connection has been suspicious pretty much the entire game. Feels bad for the guy. Doesn't look like he's gonna make it to the end of this one. Even though he did come back here, it's like we're on move 13. He's got like 30 seconds left. I still don't know if he's connected. Damn. Oh, and he's gone again. Now he's back. Will we get like one more move? We got one more move. Huge. I understand that. You only have 5 seconds, of course. Honestly, I understand that too. If I have 1.4 seconds and I'm disconnecting, like, yeah, I might play knight g4, to be honest with you. Well, I would say GG, but not much really happened here. Bishop here. Not the best move, but, you know, we do need to do this. If I have another move like a knight I could play, I would, but there's just no other move to do here. Okay, we're actually getting a decent amount of d4, I want to say. Ooh, what's that? That's a weird one. That is a weird one. Okay, we're going to play a6. I think he wants to play e4, but we're going to try not to let him. It's not going to be easy. So he's actually kind of, I mean, he's not setting it up properly. The bishop should be over there, but he's kind of playing what we're trying to play, right? Yeah, this one, I don't know. The 600s, the 700s, they basically have zero awareness for this bishop. I can't tell you how many pieces I've just won in the center of the board because it just sits there and takes it. I don't know. I have no explanation. But nobody is seeing the bishop. It's the same as the memes. No one sees the bishop. I'm telling you. Give this check. I feel like if this happens, then I mean the rook is also hanging. Okay, yeah, we can take just about anything here. The reason I think I'm going to take this is it can actually do something to me, whereas this rook is fairly harmless. So I'll just take here. Give a check. King here. I'm thinking maybe just queen back. Also knight takes. Yeah, knight takes should be fine. I was gonna say we could lose our queen there, but we would take whites. That's a lot of material here. Well, even more. We have to beat a 700 to be a 700. Let's castle, you know? Don't want to forget the absolute basics here. Okay. Defend this. I guess a5, h5. Doesn't have any pawn moves now. Then, I mean, at this point, you can just make any and every piece on the board. He seems committed. Let's see how committed he is when a bishop shows up. Yeah, he doesn't know what we're capable of. I suspect suspected the resignation would show up as soon as the bishop was, you know, he was like, okay, I gotta really throw in the towel here. Yeah, it's understandable. I think he pulled the plug at the right moment. You know, you keep your stick on the ice. As soon as you see a guy come in with the under promotion, it's like, all right, yeah, okay. I don't want to end up on a milk carton here. I still feel like, you know, we haven't maximized the potential of this opening, but we're kind of breezing through the lower rated games, mainly by just capturing material, which is what I always say, which is why we have the habit series. Like, you take free material, you don't hang it yourself, you're just going to win all these games. That's the long and short of it. So we've had a few nice games, attacking games with white, but not too many. I think those will really come into play more at, like, you know, 1000, 1200.
thank you for making it to the end of another episode of the Colle Zukertort speedrun. It's definitely one of the easiest attacking weapons to learn in chess, so I hope that this series is making it easier to understand. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already and turn on post notifications so you do not miss our next episode.